Coming up on the Middle Class VO podcast.
And I said, hey, guys, can I offer a suggestion? And they said, sure, what you got? And I said, what about... And every head in the room lifted up immediately. The room got very animated. And I'm sitting there like, oh, no, I did something wrong.
Well, if you need e-learning, we're just an email away. Call up and listen, tell us what to say. Explain the video, image and radio. Slang a local cars, reading IBRs. No way, ain't no stars. No, we're the Middle Class VO podcast. The Middle Class VO podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are so excited. He can't wait. We have got a great guest on the program today. You know him from his video game work in World of Warcraft Shadowlands, among others. You know him from the Tom and Jerry Show, Chip and Dale's Nutty Tales, and others. And you know him for his outstanding Emmy Award-winning voice performance for playing Donald Duck. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Daniel Ross.
We're not worthy. Now, I knew he was going to.
How's it going, everybody? Thanks for having me.
It's going great, Daniel. Thanks so much for joining us on the Middle Class VO podcast today. And we had the honor of meeting you and working with you in Switzerland this past September. And we've been wanting to get you on the program, and we've got you now. And we're going to make this as efficient as possible. We're going to tease a cold read challenge. We got that coming up with Daniel. He has graciously agreed to do a cold read challenge with us today. But Daniel, you're an inspiration, man. When we worked with you at the JMC retreat in Switzerland, we were just thrilled, and we got a lot out of your program there. Besides being an excellent voice actor, Daniel is also coaching now and then when his time is available. But I want to talk first about your story, because you told me an inspirational story about how you got into voice acting in Los Angeles. You took a risk, and you left the D.C. area. Would you tell us about that, please?
Of course. And first of all, thank you again for the really warm introduction. I started out as a perspiration, and I guess now I'm an inspiration, so I'll take it. I will take it. I grew up in the Maryland, D.C., Baltimore area, and that's kind of where everything began. And I loved the theater. I loved studying Shakespeare. I was a thespian for many years. I did all the school plays and musicals, did forensic competitions. I really loved the performing arts. That was something that was a real escape for me, and something that I just loved tremendously. The art of making movies and theater, it was just pure magic. And I wanted to be a part of that. I wanted to be a storyteller. So in college, my degree was musical theater before I dropped out and decided I wanted to pursue film and TV. And I became, essentially a professional extra in the DC, Baltimore area for different shows that were coming through, things like The Wire, movies like Head of State with Chris Rock, Ladder 49 with John Travolta. And, I do some stand-in work here and there. And
not a bad living.
I mean, it's not something you can make a living doing. It's more like a hobby, when you're kind of, mixing it up at that level. But it was something I wanted to do regardless. And so, Ladder 49 got me my SAG card, got me into the union. But I was doing independent films, and my best friend and I, we were watching Clerks 2 one day, and the whole theme was, hey, we should buy the Quick Stop. And we looked at each other and we're like, we should make our own movies. Mm-hmm. And so we maxed out credit cards and did everything we could, and we made this amazingly schlocky horror comedy called Ninjas vs. Zombies. And we followed it up with Ninjas versus Vampires and Ninjas versus Monsters. And before I knew it, I was, a producer. I was producing films that were being internationally sold. But in my heart, I always loved the idea of doing voice acting. And so it was nothing that I had pursued until I did. And my first big gig was in 2007, voicing Starscream and Transformers the Game. And that's where it all started. That's where it all began. I started going to conventions and meeting other voice actors, and I very quickly realized these people are like me. I found my tribe. And from that moment on, it just clicked. I said, this is what I want to do. Let's pivot and let's jump into voiceover and see what happens. And I'm very glad I did.
And the story of you moving from DC to LA, real quick, if you don't mind.
Yeah, that was your original question. And I just said, let me talk about me. Enough about me. What do you think of me? I found an opportunity in my life where I was just at this crossroads. I was either going to be a politician, I was going to run for state Congress to help bring film credits back to the area, or I could move out to Los Angeles and say goodbye to my friends and family and my life as I knew it. And I just said to myself, how many opportunities do you get? How many chances are you going to get? Are you going to regret it for the rest of your life if you don't try? And so I said, all right, let's make it happen. And I saved up enough money. I had a plan. I drove cross country to get to Los Angeles. And it's just been quite the journey. That was in 2014. So it's been many, many years. And I'm still here. And I'm still doing what I love.
So have you always been the type of person that has all these voices in their head and just a cut up? Or you like, the funny guy at school? Have you always been like that?
Oh, I've always been the class clown. I love, grabbing as many laughs as I can from people because that's the kind of environment I like to be around. I like it when people are jovial and having a good time. And if I can facilitate that, even better, even better. But yeah, I was always class clown and, doing impressions and impersonations, accents, getting into all kinds of mischief and trouble, prank phone calls and that sort of thing, imitating my teachers to get out of class or, tell my parents that I was doing good in school, that kind of stuff. Using my powers for evil. Well, I like to say I'm using my superpowers for good.
Wow.
Didn't you get some of your inspirations, too, from some of your coworkers in the retail environment, the big box retail environment?
Absolutely. When you're a voice actor, you are constantly listening. Much like, on-camera actors, they are people watching. They're observing different behaviors and different mannerisms. It's the same thing, but just a different focus. For me, it was about the voices. And so I would listen very intently. And yeah, when I was in retail, I came across so many different characters and some individuals that I've used or tweaked different voices to have a flavor of. But yeah, just the whole thing about voice acting is listening and making it your own.
Wow. So what's a typical workday like for you in animation and gaming? I mean, is it auditioning all the time? Tell us how your day goes.
I would say there really is no typical day. Every day is different. I kind of like it that way. Some days I wake up and I've got, 20 auditions in my inbox that I have to get to. So I wake up, I do my auditions and I go to sleep and that's my day. Some days I'm fortunate enough to be in the studio and I give it my all and then I'm exhausted. Some days I'm even more fortunate and I have maybe 2 or 3 sessions in a day. And still have to come home and audition and take care of my bird buddy and, still have a life outside of that, feed myself, brush my teeth, use the toilette. Those are all things I have to incorporate. And sometimes I have to check myself and go, Daniel, it's time to go to the bathroom. You have to go. It's been 5 hours. It's been 5 hours. So every day is different. And I love the variety in it.
Oh, so you don't work from home voice-wise? You don't have a studio at home? You go out for all the sessions?
It really depends. During the pandemic, I had no choice. I was working from home. I retrofitted, my setup to be able to, record movies, TV shows, video games. So, yeah, my setup is I can do that from home. But, sometimes they request you in the studio. And now that we're a bit more comfortable doing that, there are certain, stipulations in place about, wearing masks and everything. I'm fine with that. I'm happy with that. But yeah, occasionally I still go into the studio, but it really just depends on who's asking.
Yeah. I was doing a little show prep, Daniel. You probably have been told this or seen it, but I was on Google and was looking at your IMDb page. And you know how Google has all the popular questions that are asked of whatever topic you're putting in there. And it's, how much does Daniel Ross make? And of course I clicked on it. But I think that was from like 2019 or something like that. But that's when you know you've made it, right?
What they have.
You really want to know?
Yeah, absolutely.
It said $645K.
Oh man, I wish. I wish. Listen, I am very fortunate to be able to say I'm a working actor. I'm able to support myself, keep a roof over my head, feed myself, but I nowhere near that. I wish maybe in the future. I'm waiting for the next job. I'm waiting for the next adventure, and I'm auditioning. I'm hungry. But no, I'm not comfortable yet.
Maybe the halo effect from the Emmy win will help propel you in that direction. And let's talk about that a second. Could you tell us the category and about the performance and the feeling of winning an Emmy?
Oh my goodness. Well, the category for the Children's and Family Emmys, it was the very first Children's and Family Emmys, was Outstanding Performance in a Preschool Animated Program.
Nice.
And I won for Mickey and Minnie Wish Upon a Christmas, which was my curtain call as Donald. I don't currently voice the character. I voiced him from 2015 until 2021, starting with Mickey and the Roadster Racers, Mixed Up Adventures, and my shows ended. So my turn with the character ended with Mickey and Minnie Wish Upon a Christmas, and it was. I got to back up here a little bit. My mom taught me how to do the Donald Duck voice when I was 3 years old.
Really?
Wow.
That was something that was really special between the two of us. It was kind of our love language.
Oh.
And I always share this, but my mom would tuck me in at night and she would say, "Oh, Daniel, I love you so much." And I would say, "Oh, Mom, I love you too." And no matter what was going on in our lives, we could always cheer each other up a little bit with a little quacking. And, unfortunately, cancer touched our lives, and my mom had cancer, and, Mickey and Minnie Wish Upon a Christmas was the last thing that we saw together. And so the win for the Emmy, just the nomination itself was more than I could have ever asked for. I never thought that I'd be able to associate the word Emmy with my name in the first place. Let alone for such an amazing character that is known the world over that people love. I never thought that would be the trajectory when I sent in that audition for the first time. And so to be able to honor my mom and her creative legacy, she was an artist. She would draw, she would sculpt and paint. So every day I would come home, I'd share with her, my exploits on stage, and she would show me what she was working on, and we always connected that way. So she was my inspiration and supported me the whole way through. And again, to just honor her in that moment in front of a room filled with the people who are constructing what will be the fabric of the social dynamic for generations to come, the joy, the solace, the childhood memories, all in one room. And I got to be in that room.
That's so
Let
cool.
alone climb up on the stage and, hobble through an acceptance speech, which I checked out at that moment. I couldn't even believe where I was. Fortunately, the lights kind of blind you a little bit, but I see Lawrence Fishburne in the audience. I see LeVar Burton, America Ferrera. All my peers and colleagues are staring at me, and I'm very pleased that I stayed continent in that moment.
Because we don't want to be incontinent.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? In that very moment. Oops, sorry, everybody.
Where do you go after winning an Emmy? What's Daniel's next goal? I mean, gosh.
Well, the official thing is I have to say I'm going to Disneyland. I don't know. I really don't know. I never thought, again, that this would happen. I never planned for it. So to be on the other side of it, I've been doing a lot of soul searching and a lot of questioning of what it is that I want to do. I love what I do. I still love auditioning. I want to continue being a voice actor. I would like to get back to producing either some films or jumping into animation production, maybe being a showrunner at some point. I think that would be very gratifying. But I'll tell you, I really love teaching. I really, really love teaching. I remember being in the position that I was when I first started, not knowing what I was doing, and the people that supported me, the David Sobolovs, the Debbie Derryberrys, the Bob Bergens, who were there for me at every step of the way to answer any questions and support me and give me, positive reinforcement and advice. I want to do that for other people. You got to pay it forward. So I love just tossing the ladder down and saying, come on, everybody, let's do this together. If I can be of some help, then let me use that knowledge for good to help whoever's, going to be coming up next.
That's Get Worthy.
Love that. And you've got such an inspirational story, and I've heard it before, but I think it would be benefit our listeners to hear the story about how you secured the character, Donald Duck, and you swung for the fences. You were in a callback. Could you tell us that story, please?
Yes. Oh, my gosh. My very first time going to Disney. It was a Disney TV animation. And again, I was just through the moon, like, oh, my gosh, Disney wants to see me. You're a voice actor just starting out. You want to work for anybody and everybody, but Disney's calling me. I was through the moon excited, and I couldn't believe it. So I'm sitting in the parking lot just trying to like psych myself up. Like, don't, the Eminem's, song, you better lose yourself in the moment. Like, that's what I'm thinking about. In fact, I think I even played that song.
Nice.
And I'm like, don't throw up. You got this. And I'm walking in those hallowed halls, and I'm just so excited to be there. And I get to the waiting room, and I'm surrounded by celebrities, other people in the voiceover industry. It's a veritable who's who. And some people recognized me and came to say hello. Other people were focused on their job. And, if I wasn't nervous already, I'm talking top tier, talent in that room that I was sharing air with. And then they called me, and I got in there, and there's like 20 people on the other side of the glass, and little old me, green behind the ears voice actor trying to make it in the biz. And they're like, okay, what you got? And so we went through a pre-scripted phase of the callback where I was reading from a script. And then they just wanted to test me and see if I could say different words. So, they'll say, Daniel, can you say ridiculous? Okay, sure. Ridiculous. Okay, can you try this or can you try that? And we're going through all these different words, and I'm fairly confident in my ability to use buckle speech, which is the technical term for Donald Duck talk. I can say just about anything in any language, any word you give me, I can say it. And so they're giving me all these words, and I'm like, hey guys, can I offer a suggestion? Now, mind you, everybody behind the glass, most people, their heads are buried in their notebooks. They don't look interested. I'm really nervous. I'm like, oh, they don't like me already. Oh no. And I said, hey guys, can I offer a suggestion? And they said, sure, what you got? And I said, what about and
Whoa!
every head in the room lifted up immediately. The room got very animated, and I'm sitting there like, oh no, I did something wrong. Quite the contrary. My producers later told me that was the moment they knew that I was going to book that job.
Yes.
Really?
We had another callback. I had to sing a song. I discovered I could sing in vibrato with Donald's voice. And they welcomed me to the team, and my life changed forever.
Wow. That's
a
great
lesson
story.
learned, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, swing for the fences. Who cares? You got nothing to lose. You don't have the job. Swing for the fences and see if you get it. So
that has been my driving through line through everything that has happened to me in my life. It's because I took a chance. It's because when my self-doubt jumped in and said, no, you can't do this, I said, why not? Let me try. And I've been rewarded almost every single time. The first time that happened was with Transformers the Game back in 2007. I had heard that Elijah Wood created a video of himself in the woods reciting lines from Lord of the Rings for Peter Jackson. Oh. And so I thought, well, hey, what if I did the same with the Transformers? But, CGI, I can't do that. I don't have a budget. What could I do? I had lots of artist friends, my mom included, and I created a comic book that featured myself in a story with the Transformers. I sent that to Michael Bay. I sent that to Spielberg, and I got an audition. I got an audition for Transformers the movie, which, by the way, I am a huge Transformers fan. I've collected my whole life. I have Cybertronian ink on me. I am a big Transformers fan. So the fact that I got to audition was all I wanted. That was all I wanted. Then I got a call from Activision saying, hey, you want to be the lead character in our video game? And I said, yes, please, thank you. And so Starscream happened. Decepticons, make for the rendezvous point. The old spark will soon be ours. And that was my first big dream come true, my big foray into voice acting, and the first time I discovered this is what I want to do. It set me on that journey to meet people. Even up to the point where I quit my job. I have been working in big box retail for 10 years. I worked at Target. I was a manager. And when I moved to Los Angeles, I decided to work overnights, which was the hardest job, from 10 p.m. to 8 a.m., like every single day. But my days were free. I could audition, I could network, I could go to parties, I could do whatever. I would just be exhausted. And so I did that until I started booking work. And at the point that my gut started telling me, Daniel, it's time to move on. Oh, man, I was so nervous. I'm like, I'm giving up my health care. I'm giving up my regular paychecks. I am going into the unknown, and I'm terrified. I said my goodbyes. I quit my job. I'm driving off the parking lot at 8 a.m. exhausted and terrified. And my agent calls and says, you booked Lucky the Leprechaun from Lucky Charms cereal.
Ooh.
I had to pull my car over because it was like, I got lucky. What? I got lucky. And I couldn't help but feel the same kind of resonance with, you know what? You listen to your gut. When your gut tells you it's time to jump, you say how high. And that was the reward that I had in that moment. And Donald followed not long thereafter. So I know I made the right choice. Coming to LA was the right choice. Deciding to quit my job, it was the right choice. I'm not always right, but I'd like to look into those little instances where, I didn't think I could, and I did.
Skibidi-ba-ba-ba.
Now that people are getting back into the studio in LA, is it still kind of true that most animation, gaming work, you have to live out there, or has that totally changed with home studios?
That's a great question. I am of the opinion that you do have to be here. Now, why? Why do I say that? First of all, we can do what we're doing right now. We can have conversations over podcasts. You can teach, you can do lessons over Zoom. You can do that from anywhere in the world at any time. That has opened up a whole bunch of resources to people who didn't have them before. You don't have to be in Los Angeles to train, but you got to be here to shake some hands, kiss some babies, make eye contact, go do lunch, go do coffee. You have to meet the people who are in the industry, because it's not about your talent. It's about who you are. Do people like you? Do they want to work with you? What is it about you that's special? So I'm not out here, going and doing coffee and selling myself. I just want to get to know people. And so I don't think you have the luxury of doing that from anywhere in the world. I do think you have to be here for that.
Excellent. Well, Daniel, we're going to get you on a cold read challenge here in just a second, if you don't mind. Also, I just put it into Google, typed it in now that we've been on the podcast for a few minutes. You're at $655K for the year now. Yeah, congratulations.
Oh, man, I'm going to spend it all at once.
All right. So here we go. We're going to get Daniel Ross on a cold read challenge in the genre of animation. Daniel, if you would, pull up your email and then pull up the PDF and just read aloud the brief and then the direction for the read, and then dive into the read. And whatever you want to do with it, that's what we're here for.
Cold Read Challenge.
Okay, so I'm going to walk you through my process just like I do for my students.
Sure.
Awesome.
When I'm coaching. So first and foremost, I know you guys can't see this if you're listening, but I have a picture of somebody in front of a door. They're a stick figure, and they look to have hair. They look to have hair that would be of let's say the Karen genre, very Karen-y, blonde, short, right around the chin area. But there's a stick figure, so he's standing in front of the door. I have to be honest, there's not much I can really glean from this, but I always want to look at the picture first to see if there's any information that's not going to dissuade me from what's being read. All right, the name of the character is Jake. He's male. Okay, great. 18 to 25. I'm going to skip the description and I am going to read the script in a monotone voice.
Okay.
So bear with me.
Sure.
Winning that ticket, Rose, was the best thing that ever happened to me. It brought me to you, and I'm thankful for that, Rose. I'm thankful. You must do me this honor. You must promise me that you'll survive, that you won't give up no matter what happens, no matter how hopeless. Promise me now, Rose, and never let go of that promise. Never let go. Okay. Now, the reason I do that is because when I jump into the studio, I don't want to be tripping over the words. I want to have some basic muscle memory.
Sure.
So I always read in a monotone voice just to get the enunciation. And also, if there's anything I can glean from the script itself, that maybe the description might lead me astray with. So I've got some ideas of who this Jake individual is. So now I'm going to read the description. Jake is a young man in love with the sea. Oh, really? Oh, more than he's going to know. A little on the dumber side, he is friendly and overly passionate about whatever has caught his attention at any given moment. Despite living most of his youth and teen years on the bright, sunny shores of Florida, he misses the frigid temperatures of chilly Wisconsin, where he was born. Jake loves to surf and gamble, his signature sandy look being topped off by his iconic door-shaped surfboard. So it's not a door, it's a surfboard. All right. During a long and grueling surf competition in the Gulf of Maine, Jake loses his doorboard to the sea, which disqualifies him. As he's leaving the competition, he comes across the sand crab he taped a bright blue poker chip to at the beginning of the competition. This is his heartfelt farewell to the best friend he ever had, Rose the crab. Oh man, I really hope I don't sink this cold read. It's a Titanic ask. That's really what I'm saying here. Very big ask of you. So with that said, he's from Wisconsin. He's a surfer guy, so I'm probably going to put a little affectation there with the blonde hair. And I'm just going to go. Oh, man, winning that ticket, Rose, was the best thing that ever happened to me. It brought me to you, and I'm thankful for that, Rose. I'm thankful. You must do me this honor. You must promise me that you'll survive, that you won't give up no matter what happens, no matter how hopeless. Promise me now, Rose, and never let go of that promise. Never, ever. Ever, dude, never, ever, please, dude, let go. Okay, Rose, promise me. And here's some Old Bay seasoning in case you want to take a bath later.
Oh, that's brilliant, man. Good stuff. Good stuff.
And that's how you win an Emmy.
Exactly.
Oh, good
guys.
stuff.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, man. Thanks for doing that. It's such a great pleasure to have you on the Middle Class VO podcast. And if you want to briefly talk about because Bobby and I both sat in with you in Switzerland and got some amazing time crunch work put in with you about animation and gaming, and we loved it. Tell us about your coaching a little bit.
And you're going to be at VOA, right? You're going to be at VoiceOver Atlanta?
That's right.
Yeah.
I will be at VoiceOver Atlanta. I have an X session, so I'll be teaching, and I'm very excited about that. I believe tickets are still available. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'll be at VoiceOver Atlanta, and I offer private coaching. It's not really something that I've advertised, but I guess I'm starting to now. It was really just because people were asking me, hey, could you help me read, or can you help me find an agent, or help me listen to the demo? And I'm like, well, I'm kind of busy, so let's schedule a time. But yeah, so I do offer that. I offer them in 2 different increments, half-hour and hour increments. If you just have questions about the voiceover industry, want me to listen to a demo, want me to guide you through an audition, that's what I would suggest the 30 minutes for. If you want to dive into a script, just kind of like what we did here, and I like to say be a journalist and discover all the little pieces that are behind the words. That's what we do with an hour session. I don't have a curriculum. It's really based on the needs of whoever is coming to me, and I just hope that I can help in any way I can.
And where can they reach you?
Yes, I should have mentioned that. You can find all that info and book me at actordanielross.com. And in fact, I hope you follow me on social media too. You can find me as Actor Daniel Ross across social media. I've got a great TikTok. I've got a Twitter, Instagram, the Facebookies, all those wonderful things. I'll make you laugh. I'll make you cry. You should stop on by.
You're starting to sound like Jake from the ocean.
Stop on by and bring some Old Bay with you.
Oh, voice actor, producer, coach, Daniel Ross. Thanks for your time, man.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me. Bye,
So
everybody.
fun. So fun. See you at DOA.
Oh, we're the Middle Class VO podcast. Middle Class